Okay, my friends. So have you puzzled a little bit about what a grade of 32% means? So if you look at this little Volkswagen Beetle on a road that has a grade of 32%, this is going to be the same grade as that road in Los Angeles, about that steep. This is the one causing all those traffic problems. Okay, so in case you puzzled through it, maybe even I hope you Googled it too and looked up what the grade of a road is. It's really kind of straightforward. Grade is the rise over the run. That's it. It's the same as slope. If you remember slope from your algebra classes, it's exactly the same thing. Grade is rise over run, which is the same thing as slope, which is the same thing as a number of there's a lot of different words that represent the idea of rise over run. But in the world, when it comes to things like roads and trails and how steepness of a motor vehicle or foot traffic paths go, they generally use grade or gradient. So we'll stick with that for the most part for this. So how does that relate to our little Volkswagen Beetle? Well, here's the Beetle on the road. The road's going to be the diagonal part, whether it's going up or going down. Generally speaking, you're going to see grade warning signs on the downhill side. We'll talk more about that later too. But the rise and the run are the other two components. They're the components that kind of make the tilt. Because if you look at the grade, it's rise over run. So if you specify what the rise is and what the run is, that means you can get the actual grade. Now, there are many, many ways along this road that you can measure the grade, and we're going to talk about those as we go through the next few videos. Here's probably the simplest look at it, though. Okay, if you were to have the Volkswagen Beetle on a road, and if that road ran 100 feet horizontally, while at the same time climbing 32 feet vertically, that's what this little guy right here means. That's his perpendicular. That'd be horizontal, vertical. If it goes horizontally 100 feet while at the same time rising vertically 32 feet, this road would have a grade of 32%, and here's why. Grade, as we've already decided, is rise over run. If you plug in what we know for rise and run, which are 32 feet and 100 feet, you end up with 32 feet over 100 feet. Now you might notice, and remember if you've had classes with me before, that when you have the same unit in the numerator and denominator of a fraction, they can be divided off and leaves one behind, which means you're left with just 32 over 100, which is the mathematical definition of 32%. That's why when you see grade signs, it just says percent, 6%, 7%, 8%, 32%. There is no unit on that. It's simply a ratio. I'm not a huge fan of this symbol, but we're stuck with it. We're stuck with this symbol forever because it's in our culture. But when you have this symbol, it actually means there's two numbers here. There's 32, which is the numerator, and then there's 100, which is the denominator. Now, looking at this car, it's hard to believe that this length is 100 feet, and it's hard to believe this length is 32 feet, and that's totally fine. In the next series of videos, we'll talk about why that doesn't matter and why everything's equal to 32% so long as you measure consistently. So we'll get to that in the next video.